Hey, everybody, welcome to the board meeting. I'm going to call this meeting to order, and the first item of business is a student representative report. I don't know.
We were talking about it today and yesterday.
Okay.
So.
Do you have a report by proxy, or should we just move on?
Sure.
Oh, no, well, no, you don't have to. We can wait.
I'm ready.
We can wait until accentuate the positive. That's
Okay,
fine.
yeah.
Which is next. Who would like to go?
Good evening, board. My name is Shauna Schley, principal at Phoenix Elementary School. Welcome to Phoenix Elementary. I have a few positives that I'd like to share. First of all, our secretary, Lori Delgado, her mom, her name is Barbara Neely, works for Walmart, and it is like the ultimate hookup. We have so many donations coming our way, and I think it's really awesome that in the last several years, we haven't had to have our families provide school supplies, but we provide that for them, and I think that's such a good gift in these times. And so we have quite a bit of supplies that we're even sharing with other schools at this point. And so I just want to say thank you so much to Barbara Neely for really helping us facilitate all of the wonderful school donations from Walmart. I want to also give a shout out. Right now we're doing we're just ending our beginning of the year diagnostics. And so we have a big team of people spearheaded by Sean Spillane. And our team of IAs who have just been individually assessing a bunch of people. And so I just want to give a big shout out to all of them and our teachers for helping facilitate all of this beginning of the year assessments. And then finally, I want to give a shout out to Christy Dixon, our librarian. Our facilities are used quite frequently for a lot of different after school events for our adult learning center and in our library. So I just appreciate her graciousness and always just being willing to be like, all right, set this up, or okay, we got to accommodate for other groups. And so this is truly a shared space in our community, and just want to give her a shout out, and then just all of our teachers too, because we have people using our building quite frequently, and we really do view this place as a community center. So PS is doing great. That's all I have for today.
Good evening, everyone. Kent Belair, principal at Orchard Hill Elementary. Do any of the board members I remember last meeting with acronym? Do any of you know what a PLC is? Oh, Don.
Professional learning C4, I don't know.
Community.
Community.
And can you define what a professional learning?
Like math teachers get together and work on the math curriculum.
Yeah, I just like, it's a group of teachers sitting around together, planning their stuff and doing good things for kids, right? So I want to recognize Javier, Shauna, and Heather. This year we're doing something different with those teacher meetings. All of the district grade level meetings in the elementary are meeting together Tuesday afternoon. So it really benefits Orchard Hill because we have 2 teachers at every grade level. And it's nice to just have more people there to share ideas and capitalize on the wealth of the knowledge of all the teachers here at Phoenix Elementary and Talent Elementary. So I want to thank those guys. And Jen Dodson, 3rd grade teacher at Orchard Hill, is actually the lead teacher for 3rd grade. And that's a pretty good undertaking, and she's doing a great job. And so I want to thank her publicly tonight. The second thing I have is new school year always has some challenges that you learn about when the school opens. And as you probably know, our special education models changed a little bit at the elementary, and our special ed aides are doing tremendously. Their jobs have changed and evolved quite a bit from last year. Attitudes are very positive, and they're in classrooms helping kids. And so I wanted to thank them. The new gym floor is excellent. It's all striped now. It looks great. And lastly, tomorrow we're having our first monthly pride assembly, and I need to brag about Shauna and I a little bit. We had the very good judgment to hire a new music teacher, Tyler Santi, and he has written the school song at Orchard Hill, put it to music, and the 4th and 5th graders already know it, and it's the 18th day of September. So they'll sing that tomorrow for the first time, and those things are just good for kids. So it's going great. Dr. Tiffany Lowe.
Tonight I get to speak for Heather Lowe, principal at Talent Elementary School. So I'm going to read what she wrote. This week, I want to celebrate our students. As we move to a full inclusion model, our students are showing us what is possible when you create an inclusive culture. They show up for each other in inspiring ways, making sure everyone is taken care of and part of the classroom experiences and being a role model for kids and adults. Next week, we host our annual fall family barbecue from 5 to 7 o'clock. Everyone is invited. Fire District 5 will be grilling and staff will be serving until 6 p.m. At 6 p.m., you're welcome to join a classroom meeting to see our family engagement work in action. Speaking of family night, I want to send a big shout out to our teachers who are collecting important data for these meetings. They're building communities, setting expectations, establishing routines, implementing curriculum, and administering assessments. And they do it all with gusto and full of heart. So that is from Heather. And then just on a personal note from me, Kent mentioned our special education staff, but I also want to give a big shout out to our general education staff too. And Rosario, we're just talking about the collaboration between our general education staff and our special education staff to just do what's needed to make sure all of our students feel like they belong and they contribute to our school community. It's been a great start of the school year.
Thank you.
Hello, Laura Aransanti. Just really quickly, we had our first family engagement activity last Friday. Our Part of the Park down here at Blue Heron Park. We had 3/4 of our elementary students and their families show up, along with several of our middle schoolers as well. So that was a great start for our family engagement. And then we were looking forward to our trip to Pheasant Field Farms for our annual trip over there for the pumpkin patch. That's always one of our most well-attended events. And so we're excited about having a great group this year and getting to know them a little better.
Good evening, board. Casey Olmstead, principal at Talent Middle School. I also just have a few shout outs. First and foremost, Jen Baker. So we are offering Algebra 1 this year at the middle school, which we weren't last year. And so that has just been a great addition back and thinking of like the transition to the high school and really bridging, kind of building up those higher math program that they can have there. And she is just taking it and running with it, with the excitement and being in there, and just some of the rigor and academic language and everything that they're doing there has just been really cool to see. I just an appreciation for Charlene Patton at the district office. She just like with a smile all times is like the most helpful human being ever for me. She's helping me out with a couple of kids this year that we've been working on some different things, and just is always just so helpful. So I just am grateful for her. Misty Hutzel and Kern Wilson, while there isn't any behavior at the middle school. They just kidding, of course. They are just like the front runners on those things, and they've just had a lot of new ideas going into this year, and they're implementing some new strategies, and we're just already seeing an impact, and so it's very cool with their initiative in that. We had open house Tuesday, yeah, you know what day it is at this point. And we had 156 students and their families attend. And yeah, it felt very positive. I give a shout out to Sodexo. They did a food sampling of their new food, and at one point before we were starting, I gave like a hey families, when I get started, you have those samples there, and right away a husband and their child got up, and the wife right away just palm in hand, because it was just like as I was talking they went out, and I would do the same thing, so it was zero judgment. It was awesome, but it was just a fun addition to the night. I know last time I talked about this idea of hope and the activity we did with staff. I had families participate in that too, and I can share that with you guys with the board. I have a folder that shows that, and there were some really just sweet things that parents are just the things they're hoping for their kids, and that's a message that we're wanting to kind of like put out as kids are walking through the halls, and just continuing that message of hope. And then last but not least, and this will be something that I'll be talking with you guys kind of throughout the year, but there's something called the Community 101 grant. I'm going to read a little about it. So exciting program giving Oregon youth service and leadership opportunities by connecting them with charitable organizations within the community. With the support of the Oregon Community Foundation's Community 101 curriculum and program coordinators, students are led through a year-long process of creating a grant to address the need within our community. So TMS got the Community 101 grant this year. And so within our leadership class, it's up to $7,500, and it's really the kids are leading the effort. So they're identifying a need in our community. And then after they identify that need, is really looking at nonprofits that are servicing that need and all the way down to creating RFPs, and all of that. And they get to be a part of that. And I'm super excited, not only just the kids being excited about that, but like this legitimate money that we didn't give away, and then being able to like really dig into what's going on in the community and what we need. So there'll be more to come with that. The program supervisor is going to be training our kids next Wednesday. And so the donor that is a part of it will be there, and just kind of working with the kids and starting that work. But I'm really excited to take that on this year at TMS.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, board. Feeling Cross, proud principal of Phoenix High School. A couple of announcements. I was actually excited that might be shorter than everybody else today in my spiel, but since our students are here, I guess just take the opportunity. So tomorrow at PHS is Dress Like a Pirate Day, and we also have our first rally. We're really excited, and we'd love to invite you to join us. The rally will be from 12 to 12:30, so right before lunch. And then you're welcome to stick around and have some great food and enjoy the awesome costumes that will be available. We also have a home football game tomorrow evening, and so we're wearing our pirate gear to that as well. Our band will do their first halftime performance that tomorrow evening as well. So it'll be a whole day. You're welcome to join us. We'd love to have you. A couple of other things that are going on. We're gearing up for homecoming. Homecoming is the week of October 13th. That's an in-service day. So we're saying October 14th is the kickoff. Our parade will happen on Wednesday, October 15th. We're really excited about the possibility of partnering with some groups in the city to do possibly like a pirate treasure hunt over those couple of days that will end at the Friday night football game, the homecoming game. That is still in the works. We're trying to get that going, but that might be a dream this year with the reality of next year, but we're excited about that possibility. We also, after the parade, have our He-Man and Powder Puff games that we're really excited about. And then on Friday, the football game, followed by an after game dance. So, and if you want to come to any of those things, you're also welcome to do that. You could always use the chaperone. Some other great things that are going on at the high school are, we just had our very first core review for data dive at the high school level yesterday. I want to shout out to Alyssa Barber, who's essentially our instructional coach, who helped gather some data and led staff through what feels super messy and kind of frustrating when you first get your hands in some data. I also wanted to shout out to Jessica Hamlin for her work around our instructional leadership team and opening positions for that. We met as an instructional leadership team today to figure out how we want to use data in our processes moving forward, what those core reviews could look like. And I was happy to have representation from almost all departments on that team. And so that work's really valuable and we're excited about it. Lastly, but certainly not least, we have our open house event happening next Wednesday, the 24th from 6 o'clock to 7:30. We're going to start out in the commons. Our culinary students are really excited to serve up some delicious food. We will be talking a little bit about attendance and the importance of that. And then we will end with an opportunity for families to just get a face-to-face meet and greet with teachers and connect in that way. So we'd love to have you there. And that's all from the fellowship.
Good evening, board. Kelly Soder, Community Care and Early Learning. I feel a little there. Just two quick things. Want to give a shout out for our littlest pirates. I think we call them the little risers, but they're also really cute with little pirate hats on. Just a lovely group of educators. I want to give a shout out with one person that's moved into the lead teacher role. Bernice Munoz was one of our teacher assistants last year and just definitely has that capacity and stepped into the teacher role this year in our green classroom, and she's just doing a great job. So we're so grateful that she's taken that challenge on. We have happy kids, happy families. It seems like a really, really smooth start to the year. We're just practicing our routines and just have so much potential for the year. We're really excited. We're joining the pirate parade for the first time. So you'll see us as we march down on the parade route, and then just really exploring other options this year. Melissa Madsen actually reached out early on from the high school and really excited about some partnerships, maybe some goats, maybe some flowers, planting, all kinds of cool things that we could do. And so we're just really excited about all the opportunities there. Switching gears, you may have seen the announcement, and I think we mentioned it earlier, around a grant we received, kind of a long organization. It's from the Public School District Opioid Recovery Trust, as that opioid settlement money. We were awarded, we did find this out in late spring or early summer. But officially, we're awarded a grant, the only district in Oregon. So super excited about that. I think it's 39 schools, districts, I think, and something I apologize for that. But it's about just under 500,000 for 3 years. It's really gonna provide some substance use abuse counseling on a short term. Fortunately, we don't need full time in that situation, but some part time at TMS and PHS. Expanding the screener that we use for a universal brief intervention screener, and then continuing that kind of supporting and care coordination of families. So really grateful for that opportunity. And then the last is we do annual training for suicide prevention. And I just want to give a shout out to our elementary schools. We did our elementary training this week, and middle school and high school will do it in the next few weeks. And it's never an easy topic to tackle. And challenging at the beginning of the year, it's challenging at any time. So just grateful for the audience and participation and the leadership of our principals to get that done. That's it.
All right. Anything from the board? Yes. Oh, yeah, go for it.
First, I just want to comment on the school song. I think that's really awesome. I still remember my school song from elementary school at Talon Elementary. I don't know if it's the same, but let's sing it for you now. No. Also, I
Hold
wanted to the shout out for the open house at the middle school. I attended that. And Casey is a motivational speaker. I don't know if everybody knows that. There was people crying. Like it was the best open house I've ever been to. And yeah, that's all I got.
Very cool. I have a question about the song. This is a brand new song, or it's been in existence and
Brand new,
wow, it's impressive. Yeah, very cool.
originally done by ACDC.
Oh, okay. I love that. There's a joke in there somewhere, but okay. I think so. We have Rosario here from the association. I think we normally have this at this point in the agenda, but it somehow ended up in information and discussion. I could be wrong about that, but nonetheless, without objection, I'd love to just move that up so that Rosario could share her update now. That's okay. So, and we'll get you a microphone, Rosario, if you will. Thank you and welcome.
Yeah.
Working.
All right. So, hi, I'm Rosario Medina, the Vice President of the Phoenix Town Education Association. Nice to be here. We like to just give a report, I think, once a month at least, just to let you guys know what's going on, what we're hearing from our members and things like that. So one thing I want to celebrate is we're not bargaining this year, yay! And also, as we were reviewing the contract that we agreed on, because we have to give updates to our members in the beginning of the year. We're like, wow, this is an amazing contract. It felt, like bargaining, I feel like it's always gonna feel like, oh, we're in the trenches and this and that. But looking at it, it really shows how much we value our students, because everything in there that was added in is supporting our members. And we're already seeing that in the beginning of the school year. And if you support the educators, you're going to be able to provide even better quality education to our students. And that value is one that we all obviously share. And that was great to see that. One thing that was brought up, is like just the situation and everything. We have high class sizes in some places, and one thing we put into the contract last year was just like guidelines on if you meet this. If you have this many students, then these are the kind of supports you can ask for. This is how you would like trigger that conversation with your admin. And we got some great feedback on admin who have been really willing to like, yeah, let's sit down, let's get the supports you need for these students to get on the right track from the beginning of the year. So that was something really good to hear. One thing, and I think we brought this up ever since we took it away, is we really want soft start back. When I first started teaching here in the district, we had soft start. I was a kindergarten teacher, and it was great, right? Because every year I had 28 students, so it was nice to start out with just 14 students. And even if it was just like a day or half a day, just like those things that's easier to teach when you just have 14, right? Like standing in line, because I can actually see all of them instead of wondering where the rest of them are. And just like, you know, taking care of each kid at the cafeteria and really showing them how to do that routine and procedure is a lot easier with just 14 versus 28 kids. So we would like to have that back. One thing that really made it apparent, for me anyway, this year is that this year we actually have soft start at the preschool. It was amazing because with soft start we had a small group of kids, we could really focus. I remember thinking like, oh, this is why I liked it, because I see he's fidgety, so he's gonna need to sit in the back so he can wiggle and not distract his friends. Oh, I see this kid probably needs to be a little closer because they keep standing up and look trying to get closer to the book, right? Things like that. So that was nice to see. And then also it was nice for the kids because then when they came back and all their friends were there and it was a little bit more stimulating, they knew that this was a fun place already. They knew the teachers cared about them and they already felt like experts in some things, so they didn't have to learn everything with everyone there, right? Which is the change I noticed when we went from soft start to no soft start. When I was a kindergarten teacher, it was like, okay, I'm going to show you guys how to do the lunch routine. Oh wait, we have a billion other people behind us. Like that's overstimulating as a teacher, I can just imagine for littles. So that's one thing that we would like back, please. And that's about it. We're having a great start to the school year, so yeah, thank you.
Very good report. Thank you so much. Okay, next is citizens' comments. Do we have anybody in the audience who'd like to speak? I don't think we have anyone in the audience, period. Do we have anybody online?
I do, nobody that wants to speak, but Nancy is online. I wanted you to know that she.
Yeah,
is there.
remind me to call on her when we book too. Thank
Oh,
you.
there's something.
I have a comment
Yes,
under kudos.
yeah.
I went to lunch at the school
Oh, very good.
and first off, I noticed that it was very well organized with color codes. So you didn't have to speak the language, it was color codes. And I guess the janitor was the one who came up with that method, which is brilliant. I mean, taking suggestions from wherever they come. And the not so well chosen item or frequent, because chicken McNuggets was basically on the menu, was a penne, a tomato sauce and a penne, and it was excellent. And it was example of the chef, forgot his name.
Ryan Sweet,
Yeah.
Ryan Sweet.
Ryan Sweet,
Yeah.
it was excellent. So,
Awesome.
and the thing that stuck out for me, and again, I haven't been in the school since my kids were there and they're 50 years old, was looking through the younger grades. Every table was a mixture of colors, of faces. It was very well integrated. They were all interacting. It felt like one family eating together. And that was great. I don't know if that's happening, say, in the junior high or the high school, but I was very impressed that it was happening in the grade school. So.
Thank you so much. All right, Mr. Barry.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Campbell. I just have a couple things and want to reiterate, and by the Rosario reflected on the beginning of the year too, and I think some of your colleagues in the back thought, soft start may have some good benefits. So that's in discussion and we'll definitely take that into consideration.
I hear about it at home.
But thank you for mentioning that. I do want to say we're ending the third week of, with students, and I've been in every school. And it feels good. I want to reiterate the positiveness that, people have shared already. And really in particular, and I know, Casey and, the middle school are getting a lot of kudos, but I was there yesterday and really had one of the best just walkthroughs. Casey was handling another issue, and I just walked around by myself and popped into classrooms, and it just felt really good to being able to talk with staff. Some people were on their prep, so we had a little bit longer discussion. The engagement of the students, it's some math classes that we're really kind of starting to use best practices and student talk, and really kind of think, pair, share. It was just great to see some of those things in action. In your packet, you will see something that we will be sending out in a week or so, prior to the tax statements coming out. And we want to make sure that the citizens in our taxing district and in our school district know the benefits of what they voted on in the 2017 bond. And so this will be mailed to nearly 5,000 residents about what has happened. And also there's a QR code that has much more information on our website about locally spent dollars. 93% of our bond was spent locally, and so that's a big deal. And thank you, Joe, for putting this together and cramming as much information as possible into a flyer that can be sent out and mailed out.
Nice.
I also do want to, it has to do with this, and I know Don has mentioned this a couple times, but Yasmin and I met with David Williams today, who works for Piper Jaffray, who manages and runs our bonds. And we really just got a lot of information on what some of the options we may have, but as far as refinancing and doing some of those things in the future. And he's willing to come speak to our board to kind of share some of those things. So we'll talk about that as a board when the timing is right to do that. Finally, I just want to share that I did attend the service of Craig Pruitt today. And it was very well attended, a lot of staff, former board members. And Rick and I were reflecting at the reception, and just so grateful that we were able to honor him here when we had a chance to in the spring. And so I just wanted to share that. That's all I had.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Berry? Flyer is great. Thank you for that. Okay. Next, Aaron is going to give us, I think we got 30 minutes for this, right? For the integrated annual report.
Hopefully,
All right, go for it.
I think this is on. Yeah. Okay, so as part of our integrated plan requirements, we're required to submit to the state an annual report, and you guys should have a copy of that. I don't know, Denise, if you put it in their packets or mine or something.
We did.
And I know it's formatted in an odd way because it comes from a spreadsheet. So, but basically there's 3 questions that the state asks us about, and it's essentially what's going well, what challenges have you had, and then how does your longitudinal growth performance targets measure up with your expectations? And so really briefly, you can see our comments there. I'm not going to read those for you, but it refers to outcomes A through G. Those all come from our integrated plan. And those have to do with things like ensuring that all students are learners, ensuring that everybody has equitable opportunities. So all those things that you all saw as we submitted the plan. But essentially, we're really pleased with how things have gone as far as our family engagement work over the last couple of years. Things that we continue to see as a challenge. And again, I'm giving you as a brief synopsis. Things we consider to see as a challenge is the attendance. Our chronic non-attenders continues to be an issue. We saw a slight dip last year as compared to the year before. We're hoping to address that. So you'll see some of those things that I noted in there. And then finally, as far as how we're performing relative to our longitudinal growth performance targets, we do have some bright spots and some areas that we're working to improve. And so obviously our graduation rate has been great. Our attendance has not met where we want to be. Both of our 4-year and 5-year cohort graduation is doing really well. Our ninth graders on track has kind of bounced up and down. So this last year, we saw a little bit of a step back. We're looking forward to trying to improve there. So basically, the annual report comes down to synopsis is a little bit of a mixed bag, and we are working on all those areas that we want to try to continue to improve. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to entertain those.
I think the strategic plan and this are, innately intertwined, and so everything you're talking about sounds very familiar to the update that we got a month ago.
Yeah, and that's very much intentional. I mean,
Yeah.
they have to be integrated because that's the work. The strategic plan drives everything we do, and so
Yeah.
we took that and plugged it in as much as we could into the integrated
Yeah,
guidance.
appreciate your work on this. Any questions for Aaron? And we have to open it for comment, right? If anyone wants to comment, okay.
Yeah, one of the legal requirements is that there does need to be an opportunity for public comments.
Okay. Would anyone in the public wish to comment on the integrated plan? Or online?
Nobody better raise their hand.
Anybody?
If there was any real public here, I would say that.
Yeah, anybody who is not employed by the Phoenix County School District. Okay, thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Aaron. Okay. Next, we have the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
I'll give it to Diana. Okay, thank you, Don. Thank you, Diana. Any objections? Hearing none, consent agenda is approved. Okay, information and discussion, legislative OSBA update.
Okay, I have a lot.
Go for it.
So we had our board retreat and it has been like a hectic day today. I just got the notes from Linnell. I will be sending them out to everybody of what we did, but I'm gonna do a little bit of the highlights. One thing I learned that might be valuable to the board is board books. I write my notes that I'm gonna say in board books. That is public records. So even though no one else sees them, but they are recorded. So if you put something in there, like I can't believe Dawn's report is so long, it's
Gonna be that bad.
it's in there. So, Linnell's like, does anyone put notes in it? I'm like, I do. She's like, well, they're public knowledge. I'm like, I say everything in there anyways. Another thing is we had conversations. It was really nice this year. On the last day, we did like these roundtables and went to each board of directors and was able to talk to the board of directors. And my group, half the people didn't show up, so it was just me and another person, and we got to talk a lot. But it was really good to have open conversations of things we've heard from our districts. And one of the things I've heard from from not just our district, but districts in our region is ORED news is great, except sometimes an article will be written about a school that has misinformation and then it gets sent out again. So we talked about that concern and they said, well, we can't just put out all happy news stories. I said, yeah, I get that. But for instance, when we did our bond, they added a couple zeros to the number and that makes a whole big difference, right? And so she said if there was cases of misinformation to let the communications department know about that. So they're gonna probably send something out soon, but that was really good to know. And they were also promoting the good news stories. They do that a separate way. And Joe got kudos again about how well that he has prepared. Actually, in my group, they were talking and they talked about Michael being a contract person, and someone said, does anyone in OSBA know that Phoenix Talent, there's other schools in Southern Oregon besides Phoenix Talent, like they always do everything. Someone has to do something else, so.
If I may, I was remiss when I kicked it over to you for this topic. Sean was just elected president of the OSBA. When I forget to call Tiffany, Dr. Lambert, I was remiss not referring to you as President Watson, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, what else do I get right? So speaking of that, our new president-elect is Jose Glamaro Jorgensen. He's from David Douglas. He's brand new on the board, but he is like ready to go and a wonderful, they're all wonderful. And our vice president is Nancy Thomas, who is also a wonderful human being. If you have not met her, she's from Hillsborough. Chrissy writes, she is from Hood River and she's continuing to be secretary treasurer. And then Chris Cronin will be the past president. So I am currently, I just got to drop one name off my title. So I'm currently vice president and president-elect. I got to drop the acting off for the next 2 months. So then we had a huge conversation. So every 3 years, according to OSBA bylaws, we are supposed to go through the governance of our board and see if everything is working. The last couple 3 years periods, the last one, there was not much discussion at all. I actually asked for discussion and we didn't get really much discussion. And the time before that, I don't remember the discussion. So basically, the governance committee has had like these discussions, decided they're going to keep everything the same. They come to the board and say, we've discussed it, we're going to keep everything the same. And then the board goes okay and votes yes. Well, that's not happening this year. I'm in charge of the governance committee, and I think we need to have some robust conversations, and so does the rest of the board. So we had some really good, robust conversations on what's working with OSBA and what's not. And we're going to dig in deep. It's probably going to take more than a year. We need to relook at the number of representatives we have per region, how the legislative policy committee is working, how the board is working, the map, the names on the map. I mean, caucuses, should we do committees instead of caucuses? I mean, how big can our board actually get? Because right now we're 24 people. If you add more caucuses, it could be 30, and 30 people for a board is huge. And then LPC is double that. So right now our legislative policy committee is 48, which is a lot of people for a committee to get productive. Luckily, not luckily, only about half of them show up. So it's a little bit easier. But if everybody showed up, 48 people in a room and staff trying to come up with, goals and missions gets a little bit challenging, to say the least. So we had big conversations. If you want to know more about that, let me know. But I think we're going to hire an outside firm, the Crozier Group, who helped us with some planning before and kind of really get into the meat of what is working. And we had great conversations, and the people up north, a lot of them did not understand. Like right now, it's just me. There's no Sarah, there's no LPC, it's me with my whole region. And some regions have 6 people in their region of 7 districts. So it's like, oh, this is a little bit off base. So we're going to have conversations how we can make this, and what is our goal? Is our goal to support students, or because that's the way it's set up, or is our goal to support school board members? Because if you only have 7 and there's 6 of you, it's easy to support. If there's 1 and we have a lot of school board members, it's a difference. So we had started off with great conversation, and we're gonna continue. But if you have more questions for that, let me know. And we are having our board meeting on Sunday of the conference weekend, and then you can always stay and come to our board meetings as well. Also today, we had a call with Senator Merkley's staff for a half an hour. There's about 8 of us OSBA board of directors on the call. It wasn't great news. I'm just gonna be honest. It wasn't great news. They're hoping, the senators are hoping they can push the budget up a little bit, but there's nothing that says they're gonna have to follow it or the money follows through with the budget. And so the senator's office is trying their best to help out. So if you get a letter of appeal, they said that they would help write like if you sent for a grant and you had to appeal that you didn't get it, they would help write a letter on that process. And then if you were denied, they want to know because they want to keep track of how many schools are getting denied, how many schools are getting appeals. They also mentioned, I talked a little bit, shocker, and said that I was in Southern Oregon, and she's like, oh, you're in Benz, so who else is in Benz? There was two of us. And she really said, you know, communicate with Benz, and we said we've been trying. And she said, send those to Benz as well. But Berkeley's office is wanting that so that when he's testifying, he can have stories. And then they will probably contact us and say, hey, can I use your name or your district or the story? Because they really want to help. And so the more information they get from us, the more stories, the more data of appeals and denials is better. They don't, unless they call up that department, they don't get that information. They have no clue how many schools in their state got denied funding or any of that. So keep sending the stories and keep on going. Last, just a reminder, October 20th is the roadshow for our region in Ashland. In the morning time, mid-morning time, PACE will be doing a presentation. Dave told me what it was on. It was on 3 important things. And I'm sure they're great. I can't remember off the top of my head. And you can attend that if you would like. I will be sending it in because I didn't write it down. I apologize. I have it at home. There's also going to be a workshop next week on First Amendment rights of employees and school board members and staff about what you can and can't say on social media and how to handle that. PACE has had a lot of claims this last week and a lot of calls, not necessarily claims, but a lot of calls. Pre-loss has been busy. So they're gonna do a webinar for that. It will be recorded just to kind of remind everybody what is going, what you can do. And that is it. Any questions?
No, but I'll just make a comment, and I know you met with Senator Merkley. We did yesterday officially receive a denial of our appeal of our mental health grant that was discontinued, and so we are going to be strategizing on how we take the next steps, and definitely reaching out to Merkley and Biden and Ben's on support for that.
And remind me, I'll send you her email. She is in charge of the school section for Merkley.
Yeah.
And so she wants all those denials. And I apologize that I didn't tell you until after I got off the phone that I was gonna be on the phone with them.
Yeah.
But she would love to, not really love to hear, but she wants to
Yeah.
know.
And we'll have to have a plan back, and I've sent it to COSA, and there's 4 other, as you remember, 4 other districts in our state that received that grant. And I'm assuming they've received the same denial letter, but we'll have a plan of action and definitely reach out to the representative.
They also mentioned, and I'm sorry, I'll put these in my notes. They also mentioned that there was a great, I think it was article, Washington Post, maybe it's somewhere on my notes, and it talked about the words not to say in your appeals and your letters. Oh, it was the Washington Post, and they basically did a survey on what words got flagged when you wrote grants to the federal government, and it's in the Washington Post that she recommended reading it and making sure those words were not in there. A lot of schools are just taking the words out, but still doing the work. And she's like, that's basically what you're gonna have to do.
What's the status of that lawsuit that was filed?
I don't know. I can check up on that as well. And I'm not sure any of the 4 districts jumped on that, but we should be able to get some information on that.
Okay. Thank you, Dawn, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
Next is financial report. You going over that?
Yeah, in your packet, and then I'll have Yasmin
Oh,
as the
she's here.
chair.
Okay, great.
The details of
Yeah,
that.
there's one right in front of Aaron there.
She's been wrapping up the June 30th, and as we also get prepared for our audit in a few weeks. These are the latest numbers we have, and I'll turn it over to you, Yasmin. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you. Good evening, board. I'm Yasmin Carabinas.
Yep.
So, on the copy that you have, as you can see, our ending fund balance increased from the last estimate that I gave you in May, and what we included in the adopted budget. We were estimating a beginning fund balance of 10,530,000. And as of right now, we have 11,213,000. 11,213,000, sorry. So it's an increase of $683,000. I gave you some explanations of the reason why it fluctuates so much. Some of the additional revenues we received from the ESD, and also some expenditures that we had encumbered and we didn't spend at the end. So that's basically the difference. One thing that I wanted to mention is that the last payment for the House Bill 4026, the ADM security grant, we were going to originally claim it until maybe August because it's going to cover the expenditures for this year. The ODE decided to issue the grant before June 30th. So I had a conversation with the ODE, and they pretty much told me that they would appreciate if we claim the monies as soon as possible because of the current state funding at the state level. So anyway, so I couldn't wait any longer. I have to claim the grant funds on July 1st. And we went ahead and recorded the revenue for this year because they were allocating a year behind. So I'm just letting you know, because the estimate that I'm giving you right now, it may change if for any reason after the audit is not agreed upon that, because the grant ended on June 30th, even though it was allocated a year behind. I wanted to make sure that I'm just mentioning it to you now. Yeah. Other than that, I wanted to also mention, and I think I have an enrollment report that is next. Looks like we're at a few students, which is good news. And for what I saw, it was like 28 students at 11,600, about 325,000 right there. So it's something to look forward to as our enrollment goes up, our revenues go up. So other than that, about last year, our interest income was as high or higher than the year before. So now that the rates are dropping 0.25%, you can expect that the interest rates are also going to go down. So we budgeted for less interest income for this year, but so far, I mean, it's been keeping steady. So we'll see at the end of the year. So like I said, 689,000, it's a lot of money for 1 year. Going now to the next page for the bond. Just to highlight the balance for the bonds of June is 1,947,000. And for the construction excise tax fund, we have 666,000 available. Going to grants, just to mention, we received the actual allocations for this year for the biennium. And it looks like, in comparison to the preliminary allocation, SIA is going to be less, but about 159,000, unfortunately, for this year, and 165,000 for the following year. For high school success, it's about 12,000 less, and 11,000 for the following year. And early literacy, unfortunately, looks like it's gonna be the CSL level instead of the current recommended budget. And it's about $3,000 and $4,000 less for each year of the biennium. So, and that's all I have for now. Do you have any questions?
Just so you know, CSL is current service level, so they use that. And the early literacy, when they were talking about that, the governor recommended a budget almost double the current service level, and they actually funded it at the current service level. And so, but we did find out, and I think people were shocked around the state this week, that our student investment account dollars went down. It's like Yasmin says, it's $150,000 hit. And so we'll have to again, and I really appreciate, I mean, with Tiffany doing the federal dollars and Yasmin and just leveraging all the funds and the grants that we have to make sure that we can stay whole as possible and continue to provide service and support staff.
Could you just elaborate on the security grant and the timing and the date? Can you spell that out for me?
Of course.
What the implications are?
So basically, the grant agreement ended on June 30th of 2025.
Right,
They were funding us a year behind.
Right.
Pretty much.
okay, yeah,
So we received the allocation for 23-24 until, I think it was February of the
Mhm.
current year.
Mm,
So then the allocation for 24-25 was supposed to be funded until August during the 25-26 year.
right,
Since they wanted to make sure they had that money allocated and out to the districts, they went ahead and issued those agreements
okay,
before June 30th.
Okay.
And they posted the monies in EGAMs for us to claim.
okay,
So when I had discussion with Will Farm, he pretty much told me, I kind of want you to go ahead and claim
okay.
the full amount. So it went until July 1st
Mm,
of the new year. And it's recorded as revenue for the current year.
mm,
If for any reason needs to be backdated, they will have a very large ending fund balance for the year.
Okay, that's the piece that I was missing. Okay, got it. Thank you so
And
much.
we'll know that when the auditors kind of dig in and let us know. what the
Yes,
best
yes.
practice
Yeah.
is.
I talked to their manager and it seems that we can keep it a different year, but once we're done with the audit, then we'll find out the final numbers.
Are we, just a little bit of a nerdy question, Rick would probably be proud of me for asking it, but are we a cash or accrual basis in the way that we do it?
Modified accrual.
Modified accrual,
Basis.
okay, all right. Seems like that would work then, but we'll see what they say, I guess.
It should work, but it has to do with grant agreement.
Yeah, okay,
Grants were available. So
got it,
as
okay,
of right now, the good thing is that that's how they were funding us, so
Right.
that's how we should be able to.
Sure.
also use the money, because we were allowed to use them in
Mhm.
June of 2026.
Right,
So.
right, yeah, okay. I'm with you, I agree, thank you,
Okay.
appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Enrollment,
If you don't know this already yet, I mean, is an amazing
yes,
numbers of business. So
Yes.
thank you so much.
appreciate it. All right, enrollment report?
Yeah, just a little bit of a tease. What you see is what you get there. And overall, we are up 29 students, which is a significant amount of dollars. And so if we keep that trend, we will be in good shape. And so we're hoping to do so. We have a number of new students. We are, I would say in October, we will get a transfer report. And I think I teased it a little bit last week or last meeting about we're definitely on the plus side of transfers coming in as opposed to going out as well. So,
Is this comparative to the time of year?
yes,
Okay.
it is. Yeah.
Okay, great. Any questions on the enrollment report? Good news. Okay, we already did the PTA update. Okay, waiver for higher ed, the career path skills course required.
Yeah, we have some options that the state of Oregon allows us to pursue. And I'll turn it over to Tiffany on kind of what those options are and how we're looking at kind of utilizing those moving forward. So,
So if you remember, Senate Bill 3 added personal finance and higher education and career path skills as graduation requirements. So a half a credit each, and it took it out of the electives requirements. So the overall credits for graduation didn't change, but we were kind of hoping it would replace other like subjects, but it was elective. So next year's graduating class would need to have a full credit of these new classes. The state is allowing us to apply for a waiver, which would just waive that graduation credit for 1 year. And we don't anticipate needing that, just so we're teaching personal finance already this year at the high school. But as we've talked about some maybe possibilities with funding, which would possibly on a slim chance impact staffing, we'd like to apply for the waiver just to give us an insurance policy in case we needed that extra. So we don't anticipate needing it, but it does require board approval to get that waiver as a just in case.
Yes,
Question.
go ahead.
Is it also possible, my kids were famous for being the the unique ones, that a kid might slip through the cracks and not be able to get that. Just, it's their last year and who knows what, is that a possibility as well? I mean, I'm sure it's not the intent, but is that a possibility, like one or two might not, schedules aligned or something going on?
Only if we have that waiver for an
Okay.
additional year. And
Right,
part
no,
of-
but I'm saying if we had that waiver, that would help if there was like one or two that slipped through the crack.
Again, like, yeah, the high school, we started personal finance and students do get information about higher ed and career pathways in advisory classes.
Okay,
But to get that half credit is gonna be configuring a new class. And some of the trouble is those move-ins. So if you have a senior who moves in.
right,
Like, that's a whole credit that we're gonna need a plan for. So, like I said, yeah, it could help in those situations too. But 1 year in case we need it. Again, don't anticipate needing it, but just in case, we're looking at Kaden.
Will you all, I know the answer for this, but I would love to just get an update on what ends up happening with it and, how, if we have to allow waivers, just how many, and just so we know.
Absolutely, and like, Dr. Lambert was saying, we plan to offer personal finance at the end of this, the second semester and next year. The higher ed and the career and counseling there's a different ways you can actually award that credit. So we're really studying that year on where it's already happening and try to maximize those and make that consistent and clear to our students and our families. And so, but we'll definitely keep you updated. And we'll bring this back to the board for a vote here sometime in the next, probably before the calendar turns over, so October, November, December.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I don't know how to
Is
phrase
next
this.
time, the way for action.
Well, nice. I don't know how to phrase this nicely, so, but I'm gonna try my best. I'm guessing this is an unfunded mandate, correct?
Correct.
Do we know how much of an unfunded mandate this is? And is it causing any other, I know we've had this conversation before, when you add something to the curriculum, then something goes away, right? Did this addition take something away?
I can, look at Karen to
Well, you can-
help out with that, but my first thought is what it may have taken away from our students is the ability to take more elective classes.
Okay.
Or CTE classes that they might be interested in, to kind of that fun. And while we agree personal finance and higher ed and career is important to have, a full credit is, 2 semesters of a class that maybe would have been something that was in their interest a little bit. Like I said before, like my just personal belief was, we had thought that maybe personal finance would come out of social studies, credit, because that was part of the licensure that was attached to it. And so some of us in the field of curriculum were a little surprised that it came out of that.
Yeah.
And we get a lot of move-ins from California, for example, because we're near the California border. And so, we can put some classes out, over 4 years with college and career. But you get those move-ins from, across state lines that don't have credit requirements like this in Oregon. And, we don't want any of our students to be punished not to be able to graduate. Because we have these additional classes to take. So I think that's a risk as well. We don't want our students to bear the burden to try to get across that graduation stage, with that as well. So that's a funding thing too. How do we have a class that we might need to add spring of senior year?
Yeah. Is it mandated that the career and higher ed segment of it has to be a separate class? Or should that be included on some of these electives like culinary or carpentry or livestock or whatever? The segment of how that taps into higher ed, how it taps into careers. Does it have to be a separate class? Like, this is personal finance, instead of included it, or?
It doesn't necessarily have to be a separate class, and we're studying that right now, but there are special standards, state standards that are required to be covered.
Okay.
as well as, like, when we even talk about personal finance, the state has very specific standards about Oregon taxes and such, so there's not really like a quick even curriculum that would cover all the standards like we might be used to with more common core state standards for other subjects. Very unique to Oregon. So we do need to make sure every standard is covered to proficiency there.
Thank you.
I do think this is an advocacy stance too. If we can get this like personal finance into the social studies curriculum, that will free up at least another half credit that a student can take a CTE course. And we know when kids are involved in CTE courses, their engagement and their graduation rates are higher as well. So we'll continue to advocate for that.
Okay, thank you. That's what I was leaning towards, because a lot of times we're gonna have our representatives come the first of the year. Hopefully I gotta work on that. And this would be a good topic to let them know, because I think a lot of the times they vote yes on things and they don't realize the challenges and the funding piece and students moving in and all of that. There's more to it than, oh, look at, they're learning something else that we think they should learn. So thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Yeah, I just do reiterate, we are full support of this curriculum.
Yes.
And so which is good, but I think there's a different way to put the puzzle together for graduation. And so I just wanted to kind of share that, because that's personal finance is, we've done some of that in the middle school, and I know our families really appreciate that as well. So
100%, but I just don't think the legislators understand the timing and changing and getting up the standards, and it's not just like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Here's a book. Teach it, it's more I don't think they understand the nuances like Tiffany nicely explained it. So thank you.
Such is the case with many laws that are.
Okay, thank you for that. Next, this should be a pretty quick discussion. Board policies on personal electronic devices. So I'll just start and give a little synopsis. As you know, I think it was July 1st, the governor passed an executive order, which requires school districts in Oregon to pass a policy that says no cell phones from bell to bell, including meal periods. As I'm sure you also know, we already had something in place at the building level. And so I think in elementary and middle, it looks just pretty much like the executive order, with the exception of our high school, which has been allowing cell phones during meal periods. We have to, the executive order states that there's certain things that we have to spell out in the policy, and then in terms of the time frame, we have to pass the policy by October 31st, which for us means October 16th, because that's our last board meeting before Halloween. And so I asked Denise, normally, we do information and discussion, and then the next meeting we take action. I asked Denise to put this in here now. What you're seeing in here in terms of the draft policy is just the boilerplate draft straight from OSBA. So we can do whatever we want as long as it meets the requirements of the executive order in terms of the policy language. But I just wanted you to have that so you can look at it. I think something for consideration, we've already been out in public I have been out in public talking about, I've been on the news more times than I want to on this. I'm like, there's other districts. Why do you want to talk to me? I know, it's the Phoenix talent thing.
They only know Phoenix talent down there.
My jacket and everything. We've been saying, and we've been gathering feedback. So Dawn and I attended a session with our teachers during in-service at the high school, and we had, about a dozen people there. It was not mandatory, and they had a very busy week, and so a lot of teachers were planning, but we got enough people there that we got some really good input. So we've done that. Caitlin and I have talked about maybe a couple board members going to the student advisory council. Love to hear, kind of where that's headed. And then something that we've thrown around, and that Joe is anxiously awaiting our direction on is, do we want to have a listening session with the community? And I think a lot of that is just educating people about, the executive order and, what's in it and sort of what's required of us. I think as many of us have said, what's unique to Phoenix Talent is we have experienced some significant trauma with emergencies. And then we also have, I don't have data to support this, but anecdotally, I would say that our students probably have a higher propensity to be caring for younger siblings. We probably have a higher percentage of students who are working, who need their phones at some point during the day to arrange their lives, for their families. And so the lunch thing is a real hang up, I think, for a lot of us. Couple things I'd like to discuss. I just wanted to get the policy in front of you. I want to discuss the board's appetite for having a listening session, and then get 2 or 3 tops volunteers who might want to sit in on an advisory council. But if we want to do all that, we need to do it within the next 2 weeks, because we really should probably have some language flushed out by October 2nd, so that we can consider that and then take it for action on October 16th. Real quick, Kaylin did a fantastic job organizing the session with staff. And so we had 4 big giant Post-it things around the room, and we asked some questions, and then they did rotating group. I let her handle all that stuff because that's her expertise, and it worked great. So we had Post-it notes posted on each of the questions, and then Kaylin sent the pictures, and I sent the pictures to ChatGPT to summarize everything, which is great. So we asked about supports we need to make this work, what has worked and not worked in monitoring cell phone use, because we've had policy at the high school for a year now. Where should phones go during the day, which is something we're tasked with including in the policy. And then any equity concerns about bell-to-bell enforcements. And so under supports needed, just a summary. Staff said success would depend on consistency across classrooms and schools, additional supervision, and clear communication with students and families. Lock pouches were the most frequently mentioned support, though people raised concerns about cost, enforcement, and potential power struggles. So I think there's real pros and cons with the lock pouches. What's worked or not worked so far? When schools use clear systems like drawer storage, envelope systems, or consistent classroom expectations, most students follow the rules. What hasn't worked has been inconsistency, earbuds and wireless devices slipping by, and phones being taken to bathrooms, which I've heard a lot of. And then there were also concerns about equity in FERPA with some enforcement methods. And I think that has to do with, like, I thought about this a lot too, with the exemptions. So when a student who might have an exemption is using their device and every other student notices that, and then it becomes like, well, why are they using their device? And you get into a whole thing. So where should phones go? The most common idea was keeping them in backpacks, ideally in locked pouches. Some suggested collection systems in classrooms or offices, but there was hesitation about adding that responsibility to staff without extra support. So that makes sense. And then equity concerns, staff worried about fairness if phones are restricted bell to bell. Concerns included students needing phones for medical or family reasons, short lunch periods, and special events like sports or assemblies. By the way, according to the executive order, if you're a coach taking a football team to Astoria, you have to enforce the policy. So no cell phones on the bus. So bring the hobbit.
Right?
What's that?
Until the end of the bell period.
Well, yeah, right. So you can, if you leave at 10 a.m. to drive to Gold Beach, yeah, no cell phones on the bus. Where was I? For lunch period special events. Okay. Consensus was that a one-size-fits-all approach could feel punitive unless accommodations and exceptions are clear. So the overall takeaway, staff are open to stricter limits on phones, but only if there's consistency across the board, clear expectations for families and students, and enough support to avoid putting teachers in the middle of power struggles. Lock pouches are seen as the most realistic tool, but they're not a silver bullet. Equity, exceptions, and supervision will all need attention. I think about just efficiency. When you're trying to unlock 700 pouches, that could be tough. So, and this just popped in my mind, you know, as you're thinking about how do we want to engage the community on this, we could either do that within the next 2 weeks, or we could draft language based on everything we know now, and then the community piece could be educating them on. But I think there's here's what I'm worried about. The team did such a good job last year going to our families and getting their buy-in on the policy that we passed, with the understanding that kids could use their phones during meal periods. And you know, this has now caused us to resurrect all of that stuff. So yeah, there's a lot to consider. I will say many of our neighbors have just gone with this to start the school year, and I've heard positive feedback about that, but I think we need to be mindful of the unique circumstances of kids in Phoenix Talent. So with that, thoughts, questions, we could kind of go in any direction you want. I don't know if we want to go line by line on the policy right now. I have some questions about the exemption piece, the way this policy is written, the exemption outside of, you know, medical or 504 would need to be a written request that's approved individually. I don't think that's a requirement of the executive order, and I don't think also that ODE has given us the rules yet, right?
And they won't. They're not gonna set rules on.
They're not gonna set rules, okay.
They could change their mind though, but as of now, they're not, right?
Yeah, okay, they could change their mind, well, that would be super fun.
I don't know if they will, but they could.
Yeah, but they have expressed that that's been shared over the last couple of weeks, that
That's helpful,
did not be waiting for rules on this.
okay,
And Michael,
yeah,
just to make sure you know, the AR is optional,
yeah.
the regular policy is required.
Right, thank you, yeah, so that, okay. Putting on my Phoenix Talent board member hat only right now. I feel like we might have some flexibility with that waiver. That exception piece, the last exception that doesn't include 504s. And so an idea we could put in the policy, and we could talk with that if we wanted to get his opinion on it, of whether it passes muster with the executive order, is could we say the board grants a unilateral exception to students at the high school for the best educational experience for them, given that we are an open campus, and a community eligibility provision school district where kids get free lunch. Because I also have real concerns about kids not eating lunch to go use their cell phones at the cemetery across the street. So,
And safety concerns, right? The whole town knows that the high school is out of school right now and they're all across the street.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, I think that's worth exploring, and we can get Thad to give an opinion on it. That's the only thing I can think of.
So on that matter, there's a few other school districts that are looking into the same thing. And so it might be, I don't know if I should out them in a public
Maybe
meeting.
not, you don't have to name that.
But I can tell you their names later, and that might be worth talking with if that's what you're going to do. I believe some I've also talked to are just kind of like, we're open campus, we're just turning a blind eye at open campus. So it kind of depends on what what you're, thinking on that, but yeah, I just wanted to throw that in. I have a
think-
lot to say. about
Sure.
policy.
I struggle with the idea of going, okay, it's banned bell to bell, even during meal periods, but staff, I don't wanna put anybody in a position to, you know, be actively going against the board policy, so, I just don't think it's good precedent to set. So I think if we wanna take that stance and we feel like it's legally sound, that's something that we could explore. This is part of the question, you know, maybe parents will overwhelmingly say, you know what, maybe it would be better if they didn't have them during meal periods because so they can fully concentrate on learning. That's where the community piece comes into it. But it's a little delicate to get in a room with the community, and it's even, I may get a call after tonight from somebody, you know, saying, hey, I hear you're trying to be creative with the, you know, finding loopholes in the executive order, but, and I've said this many times, the legislature tried to take this up for 5 months and couldn't figure it out, and so, here we are.
I would dare the legislator to have to not have their cell phones from bell to bell in the
I just
legislature.
used it to give you all a recap.
Just to clear this up, the legislators did not pass this, the governor is the person who passed it. All of the legislators, I'm just gonna say this is why I'm good, we had school, students, write letters to the legislator to, oppose this. I personally can't tell you how many legislators I talked to, and there was not able to do a consensus. It was, the legislators believed that it should be left up to the schools to figure out what is best for their students and communities when it came to cell phones. The governor decided that since it didn't pass, she would pass it. So most of the time, I'm ready to throw the legislators under the bus, but this time I'm not going to because they listen to me and our students, and I want to thank them for doing that.
I think what we've got already in place for the elementary school is basically what they're saying. And
Right.
the middle school.
And the middle school. Mhm.
So
Spells
it's
it out.
just the high school, and if we're raising young adults
Mhm.
to live in an adult world,
Mhm.
I think this is pretty, and just the statistics of where these phones are gonna be and locked up and grouped together and then, you know, given out like medicine or whatever, it's just a nightmare.
Yeah,
Even
I
thinking
mean,
about it.
we can say, you gotta keep it in your backpack, you know, so, you know, the thing I like is this does, I think, give a little more teeth to the efforts from last year in terms of non-meal periods, so, I like that we were able to have that discussion about, you know, what's worked and what hasn't worked, and I think we all agree that, you know, we need to limit distractions so kids can learn in class, that's a no-brainer.
My question is, what is the disciplinarian action? We're gonna remove students from learning because they have their phones on
No, you're
them?
not allowed to.
Not allowed to do that,
I
yeah.
mean, that's good, but then like, where does
Yeah.
that leave anybody?
Well, just as as an example, here's what the policy says. It says the first instance, staff will give the student a verbal reminder. Okay, so it would be, that's what we have to be that specific in the policy. So we have to say what happens if you don't. And this is pretty, I don't know if you got a chance to read this. Did you have a chance to read this policy?
So there's a
Kaylin.
repeat offender.
Okay.
I've looked over it. I haven't-
Okay. I would love, it doesn't have to be right now, but just how closely does what's in this draft match what you all are doing now? In terms of when you know, catch kids with their phone in class?
Yeah, it's pretty
Okay,
in line.
okay, great.
So I felt this way for a long time, and I think I've said it before, but I feel like our job is to get students ready for college and career. There's no, as far as I know, there is no career where you cannot have your phone during lunch or break. And I mean, there might be some, but most careers, And if you're traveling like on a like if you're traveling on a job, I have not seen any career say you cannot have your phone at the airport while you're traveling for a business meeting. So I feel like if our job is to prepare our students for college and career, this is not what the real life is. I've talked to some college professors and they are concerned, like you're taking the phone away from them and you're not teaching them, especially when you have an unlocked box, you're not teaching them how does that work? And so that is one of my concerns. And then I am taking off all my other board hats. I have not PACE on, I have not coming up president. What happens if we don't pass it? As far as I know, that's like that's the one answer. Understand, since there is no rules, there are no consequences if we don't pass it. If there was consequences that come along, it would be Division 22. I've talked with some people. And we would have a year to pass it, which would give us more time to figure out and see what other schools are doing. So I'm just throwing that out there because I don't know if we want to be the rebels, but
Well, we can ask the council that too.
Yeah.
We can ask that.
I have talked to some people that are lawyers. And I said, what happens? And they said, same as Division 22. I'm just gonna tell you, a lot of people don't want to really say it, but this is not a great, this executive order does not follow what a policy usually follows. It's having boards overstep what they usually do. It's having them do things that is usually up to staff and principals. It seems to, the opinion of some is it seems to be a rushed statement, not a thorough. And if we couldn't figure this out in 5 months, I really just struggle with just passing something that really smart people were in rooms talking about this for 5 months and could not come up with something that was a one size fits all. And I strongly feel this is unfunded mandate and it's taking away local control.
Yeah. I'm guessing, Kaylin, you don't have parents beating down your door saying, we want our kids not to have their phones at lunch.
You are correct.
That's not the case. Have you heard anything from students or parents so far about the executive order so far this school year? Sorry to put you on the spot, but I think we're talking about your school, so.
So we haven't heard a lot of feedback from parents since our in-person registration event. There were a lot of questions at that event because we asked families to sign our just acknowledgement of our procedures around cell phones because they're personal property and that gets kind of touchy. So there were questions about that when we told them that we were moving slow and getting some information. They were thankful for that. There were a couple of parents who mentioned like, well, you already asked us how we feel about this. We told you, kind of a deal. And that's pretty much it.
Okay.
There's a lot, students have a lot to say about it.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm
sure students.
Guessing they're not like excited about this, or am I wrong?
Students or parents?
The students.
Students are concerned about it. Students that I've talked to feel like overall, they're doing a really good job with the parameters that have been set in place. They feel like the consequences are fair and that everyone's on the same page. They're worried about, mostly upperclassmen are really worried about work and not being able to hold a job because their employers get a hold of them to cover shifts or, different things like that. And they'll be seen as unavailable and they'll be passed over for those opportunities. I have several students who, just like you described, are in charge of their younger siblings, sometimes even childcare, right? Like, oh, your, second grade sister is sick. I need you to pick her up from school and stay home while I finish out my shift, right? There's no contact around that. I will say, I think I mean, obviously, we have front offices, we run notes, those systems still exist. But yeah, that direct line is really helpful for kids and families.
Do you expect, and now you can answer this next meeting, do you expect the time to go up? What, do you have any like clue of what the time would go up? Because I know you have the person answering the phone does more than answer the phone, I'm assuming, right? And so their time of taking in, do you have any idea what that would mean per like unfunded mandate on how much more money that's gonna cost to implement this?
I don't have a number around that. I mean, definitely that would increase. It's like, especially if something like locked pouches or are the way we go. Because, yeah.
Thank you. Thoughts on locked pouches?
It's personal property.
Yeah.
When do we have a right to take a kid's personal property and lock it up unavailable to them and give it back to them? You know, I mean, it seems like it's way overstepping what the school really should have a right to do. You know, I mean, we can't take an offensive T-shirt away from them and lock it up in a locked pouch. Can we? I mean,
We
why
can
would-
do other things with that.
It just seems like if we're trying to raise responsible adults in a school system, where do we quit?
Something to consider if we, put something so overt in our policy. It's gonna get picked up and it's gonna be talked about, so,
I'd say in other districts that I've seen with like locked pouches and things like that, students are innovative. They're gonna figure out a way to get in there. They usually do.
Like I said at one of the meetings, my son is one of those that the principal probably was not enjoying, but he probably would come up with a system. Cause now some cars you can unlock by your phone. Come up with a system where he'd charge $1 to keep your phone in his car and charge it. I mean, he actually said, oh, Bob, I set up chargers and all this stuff. He is no longer going to have to worry about it, but I can't have the only son that would be doing that, right? So the upperclassmen are gonna all keep their phones in their cars, I'm guessing, and at lunch go out there. The people that have upperclassmen friends are probably gonna do the same thing. Like, how do you stop it except you close campus? And then back to you, that's one of my other concerns is if we come up with a exception for lunches, I'm fine with that. But my concern is when they look at that, they'll go, okay, so all these schools have accepted this policy. It was great. And they're not looking at, well, the school's not actually following so to me, like, do we want to do that? Or do we want to say, look, this is not a great policy. This is not a great thing. I don't know. It's putting up on the edge. It's something to seriously think about. But I do have concerns on passing something that works for us when it's not being followed. And then, what happens throughout the state. I don't know. There's a lot. I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I can't tell you how many podcasts I've listened to about cell phones in schools.
You listen to those on your phone?
No, actually, it's not my radio, because there's no cell phone.
But yeah, I said, I mean.
More than that, 6 hours to get to the retreat and back. And so when I'm driving, there's many times I am driving 5 hours to go to OSBA events, and I have plenty of time to listen to podcasts.
So here's what I think. I think we know from our families what their desires are. If we want to schedule something, we can. I think we know what they're gonna say.
Just put something out that says, like, we're discussing this, you can write your input. I mean,
I was thinking about, I would love to have some data on like, how does your high school student provide care for a younger sibling? Does your high school student work?
You know, how many, I don't know what the number is. I don't know if we know that, but it would be interesting to have that data, because here's the thing. We're not talking about this because we're just mad at the governor and we
Right,
want
no.
to go against the executive order. See COVID for times that we followed executive orders. So it's not about that. I think there's a real educational case to be made here. And I think if we can spend the next couple weeks gathering some, the problem is, I don't know who's gonna fill it out, but I would love to know how many of our students work and care for younger siblings. That's a thought.
One, and at OSBA, there was other thoughts of, you know, parents not speaking the language. I think we do have good, good staff that does help with that, but concerns of that, concerns of, you know, family issues. Or, you know, sometimes there's some serious family things going on where they need to get a hold of each other, quickly. And so this one's really hard for me because I keep on thinking, is this best for students? And I keep on going, I don't think so, but I don't know.
Have you seen the information on the launch of the new Apple AirPods that will translate in real time?
Yes.
Do you know the possibilities for those for our ELD students? Imagine an ELD student can wear those and what they're hearing in English is instantly translated for them. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, so I just, yeah, go ahead.
We have devices like that also, and I think
Okay.
that's kind of there, that's another concern, sorry, of parents, is like, oh, well, first it's phones. And then
Right,
what is it?
right,
So,
right,
I know that's kind of like floodgate for you.
yeah, right.
I think your full survey idea is a great idea, but I think instead of giving it to parents, we should do that with students.
Mm-hmm.
And send out a survey to students asking if they care for student, for younger siblings, or if they, you know, have a job or like the impact coming directly from them, how that will impact them.
I like that. Is there time to do that in like an advisory class in the next 2 weeks?
2-question survey. Do you care for a younger sibling and do you work? Could we do that? We can have them, do we have to have them use their Chromebooks for that or for their cell phones? There you go, yeah.
Well, that's not subject, you know, some kids are taking college classes, they need their phone for double, some teachers need their phone to log into the email. I mean, sometimes I need my phone to log into the email
I need
here.
my phone just to get into my Chromebook.
Yeah,
Like I need some verification code.
and if you don't do that, then that's a PACE liability, and then you don't have as much insurance. Yeah, it's just.
So here's what I like the idea, if that, I didn't come here intending to give you a bunch more work, Kaylin, and I can write it, it could be a Google survey. So 2-question, thing, I would just love to have that data, that would probably back us up a bit to help make the case. And then I would love to get some input from legal and then I think we take that, present it all back with updated language. I don't really love the draft policy as it stands, to consider for the second and go from, yes.
Can I just ask a clarifying question?
Yes.
Okay, so you would like me to make a 2-question Google survey, send out to advisories, and have them do that within the next 2 weeks, so probably next Wednesday.
Yeah,
Okay.
is that possible?
Yes, and can you tell me exactly what 2 questions you'd like?
Do you care for a younger sibling
Okay.
and do you work?
Okay.
However you want to phrase that in a better way,
It would
but,
depend on your phone for either one of those things.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I think.
Have to workshop those things.
Yeah, I think there's an element of like control you wanna have with the survey because kids are smart and they're gonna figure out what we're getting at here. So I'm really just interested in that, like, you know, and then, you know, there's probably a million other questions, your point about picking other, but I think that's the biggest one for me is.
Do we want to have Joe put something out that the board is discussing this and so that, I mean, I'm opening me up for angry emails right now, but is that something we want to put out that we will be discussing this the next meeting and, because I saw a staff member, I think everybody knows who I'm talking about. And she posted something on Facebook, people were talking about it, and I said, we're gonna be talking about this soon, you might wanna just email the board. And she's like, oh, I didn't know, and so I'm wondering if we want just to let people know that now is the time, because once you pass it and they find out, then they're calling Kaylin and saying, oh my gosh, and then it's, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a way that would make less phone calls for staff. And we can put the more burden on us, because I think that was kind of what the meaning of this policy was, is to put the burden on the school board, so staff wouldn't take the burden, but
Well, yeah, except like.
No.
Like the exception thing where you gotta do it individually, you know.
Is more burden on
So,
staff.
and enforcement at lunch and et cetera, so.
I had just been told that the reason it was written like this is so that people would blame the school board and not the
Oh.
staff for.
God,
putting this
oh,
policy
sure, that part I support, you know, I think that's.
Yeah,
I think
100%.
That's great. Okay, anything else? What about student advisory? Council, Kaylin, is that, I mean, I think the survey kind of takes that to a bigger level, so.
Transparently, I've not had the opportunity to establish.
Okay.
Advisory committee.
Well, let's send out the survey then, and
Yeah.
that's gonna go to all students, yeah, okay.
Maybe your idea of a QR code on a poster. In the,
It's real, like toothbrushing survey, it's not a big deal in
Yeah.
advisory on Wednesday.
Okay.
And then we do have student reps, hopefully they'll be here the next time and be able to talk about that. And we are voting at the school, so that gives students opportunities. I hate to say that because I don't want them to skip class just to say something,
Yeah.
but.
What's the calendar look like on the 16th? Might wanna look at that.
Looks great.
Might need to be, what do you call them? Short, what do they call them? Short day.
is the parking lot still not within the school's jurisdiction? Is it still
Good job.
Jackie County or something like that? I mean,
Yeah, our parking lot's school for
our
campus.
parking lot is not part of the campus.
It is.
It
is.
Part of
But you can park offside the campus on the street.
Okay, because there isn't something that can say off campus, you know, that's the exception that we can make
Right.
we can make a rule about school property.
And there's one school that is doing that. They're gonna allow it in the parking lots.
Mm.
They're saying it's off campus and off campus is the front door.
Mm.
But again, you know, we have all these schools doing their different version of what helps their students, and I applaud them, but. Yeah, I mean, everyone's trying to do their best
Yeah,
for their students in their schools.
yep. All right, good discussion. I think we have some good direction. Thank you for your willingness to.
He's like almost.
help us with that. Yeah, I mean, this is exactly it, right? Normally, we wouldn't be dictating to a principal, like, go do something. Normally, that's your job, but we've been tasked with that now, so, all right, we're gonna take a recess for 8 minutes. Thank you all for being here. Have a good night. Calendar for 26, 27. That is right. Oh my gosh, okay. Jeez.
So as stated before, this is similar to budget calendar we've had in the past and
Yeah.
follows that, those dates.
Okay, very good. Do I have a motion?
I move to accept the budget calendar. 26, 27.
Thank you, Diana.
I will second it, Dawn.
Thank you, Dawn. Discussion? Oh, I should take this moment to admit this is budget adjacent, but you may have noticed a little while ago, we had budget committee members on the agenda.
Yeah.
We had 2 that couldn't make it and 1 we weren't sure, so I just told Denise, we'll do it when we have time to interview budget committee applicants, so I told her we'll do it when
And we need
everybody can come.
3,
So
and we got 3 that
3 open
I think we have
Reopen
three
and 3 of
applicants
us
now.
live.
We do have three applicants.
And we may actually have more because we had our EDI committee meeting and so we know that there's families on that, when those come open, we may have more if there's some of those members that want to apply for budget committee.
Awesome.
Good.
That'd be great. That's another thing, I mean, I'd like to have, if there's a competition for it, that's fantastic. So, okay.
And
Now-
council, we're all on the budget committee too.
Correct. Okay. Yep. Okay, I'm gonna start with Nancy. We're voting on the calendar for 26-27 budget.
Yes.
Diana,
Yes.
Dawn,
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes.
I vote yes. Legislative Policy Committee nomination. Have we heard from anyone who wants to do this from our board? Oh, I cannot.
I have asked a few people on our board and all of them, said no.
Okay.
So if there's someone that wants to, now's the time to say it.
Mhm.
And I would love to nominate them if I knew, but everybody I asked kind of
Mm,
quickly said, I don't
Yeah.
think so. Nancy?
You
Very
wanna
quiet.
nominate me?
No, I'm just asking. I don't know if I asked you. I know I asked a few other people and I can't remember if I asked you or not, if you wanted to do LPC, but there's going to be quite a few nominations from other boards.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm not sure what the time commitment is at. And I was also kudos to you, Don, because there's been a couple of other board members that I've talked to and they've said that they've connected with you. I'm so sorry. The game is getting good. And they're interested in possibly joining LPC, but at this moment, I don't think that I am.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that you had the option to say
When do we have to do this by?
now.
Oh, it has to be done by today.
It has, what?
Yeah, we would need to,
If we
Yeah,
want.
I think it's due at the end
somebody
of
wanted to, they need to say.
the month, but we'd have to vote on it today.
Okay.
I can tell you, there is another board meeting, at least one board meeting happening right now that people are being nominated at.
Okay.
I think. I'm trying to make sure I'm making it fair that all the boards know this, so I think they all do. Some boards are nominating this month. I was invited to Eagle Point a couple months ago. The superintendent asked me to come to Eagle Point. He asked about this and I said I can come talk. Then a member called me today and then their board secretary asked me to come. So I'm going to their meeting next week to answer any questions they have. But I do know that there's several people that are interested in it. We could also, if there's somebody you know, you don't have to nominate your own board member. You could nominate someone from another board.
Oh.
But I don't, no one has asked me to nominate them.
Yeah.
For instance, Jose was nominated. When he was said to the board of directors, I don't think he minds me sharing, his board had already their meeting was over. And so another neighboring board nominated him because, but I haven't heard from any other, I have no nominations to give from anywhere down here. I know people are getting nominated from the board, so.
Okay. So this is actually a good Robert's Rules question. So we have an action item before us. Does someone have to motion it and then not second it and it die? Do we nominate Donald Duck and then vote no?
Because there is no nomination.
Okay, so we don't have to take action even, we don't even have to make a
There's nothing
motion.
to take action.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you.
I just made that up, but.
That makes
No,
sense to me. though.
I think you're 100% correct.
Yeah.
And you can also not move. If no one makes a motion, then it dies automatically. I'm 99% sure.
Because I don't even want to move to table, because then we'll just.
No,
Yeah.
we can't table it because it has to be in by the 28th or something like that.
It has to be, the last day of
I
September.
moved to table to October 1st.
Yeah.
Only October 1st, but guess it won't be taken up then. Okay. The 10-2 agenda is there for your review. I'm just seeing if we have, so we'll need to add Nope, we're not taking action on the South Bend policy, that's on information.
So we have the waiver, and then do you want to move the PTA, OSEA back up to where we had?
Yeah, let's put it, after accentuates positive, yeah.
Also, just information, if this is okay.
Yeah.
The board of directors spot, if anyone is interested in that, will be open in October for our region.
Okay.
And that will be appointed, and I think people are going to do that as well, and that
Yeah.
one doesn't have to be appointed, you can just send in the resume
Oh.
to the board of directors.
Oh, the board of OSBA is gonna make that appointment.
Yes.
Got it.
I'm
Okay,
just putting that out there to be transparent.
real quick, for the association report, when do we want that? Should that go before citizens comments or after, or,
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
for the association, would you prefer it go before your report so that, like today, you talked about, they talked about soft start and you were able to respond? What if we put it just after citizens comments?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I thought you said after.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just changed it on the fly, just because that way, if Mr. Barry wanted to respond to anything, you could do that, so, okay. All right, anything else? We are adjourned.
Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Thank
Nancy.
you.